She arrived at the ceremony with nothing but a silver invitation, a weathered blue cardigan, and a small metal box clutched to her chest. Her name tag, slightly faded at the edges, read Eleanor Reed. No uniform. No medals on display. Just calm eyes, steady posture, and a presence that felt both invisible and deeply intentional. The event was meant to be prestigious. 100 guests, Navy brass, donors, and politicians had gathered on the deck of the USS Washington to celebrate its history and the promising future of a new class of officers. Cameras roared, photographers buzzed. Every handshake and ribbon cut was designed for publicity. Which is why Eleanor stood out and not in the way anyone appreciated. Blake Whitaker noticed her first. Tall, polished, the youngest ever head of public affairs for the Atlantic Fleet and the senator's son, no less, Blake was more interested in optics than service. He was orchestrating a social media campaign for the event when his assistant whispered, "There's someone by the ship model." Blake turned, saw Eleanor inspecting the detailed replica of the USS Washington with a thoughtful frown, and instantly bristled. She didn't look like a donor. Didn't look like anyone important. Just another gatecrasher, probably here to chase some free wine and snap photos. He approached her, a practiced smile on his face and his phone already recording. "Ma'am, this is a private event. May I see your invitation?" Eleanor quietly handed it over. Blake barely looked at it. "This is a reproduction of a Truman Gala invite from 3 years ago." "Where did you get this?" "eBay." "I was invited," Eleanor replied, calm but firm. "I'm sure you were," he said with a smirk. "Tell me what made you think you belonged at a naval commissioning." She turned back to the ship model and gently ran her fingers over the bow. "The date on this hull is wrong. It was refitted 2 months earlier than listed here. March, not May." He scoffed. "Right. You served on the original Washington, did you?" "I did," she said plainly. That was all the fuel Blake needed. He turned the camera to face him and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the USS Washington celebration, and look who we found, someone claiming she served on the original vessel. Maybe she was also on the Titanic." Laughter flooded the live stream chat. Comments flew in. "Nice cosplay, Grandma. This lady's stolen valor is next level. Get this lunatic off our ship." But Eleanor didn't flinch. She just stared at Blake, her eyes tired but sharp. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked him quietly. Blake smiled wider. "Absolutely." Security was called. Eleanor was detained, handcuffed, and escorted out, her small metal box still in hand, unopened, unmentioned. The entire incident streamed to over 200,000 viewers within hours. What Blake didn't know, what no one there knew, was that someone very important had seen that video, and he did know exactly who Eleanor Reed was. Rear Admiral Isaac Dunham was at home when the footage came across his feed. He dropped his coffee mid-sip. He'd served alongside Eleanor. She wasn't just a veteran, she was a former executive officer of the USS Washington, one of the few women to ever hold that title in her era. During a catastrophic fire in 1998, she had personally led a rescue operation that saved 73 sailors. She carried one unconscious lieutenant over her shoulder up 3 flights of burning steel. She'd never spoken of it in interviews. Never cashed in on her story. She retired with dignity, walked away quietly, and took her medals with her in that same box she still carried. Dunham called every contact he had and ordered a car. Back at the event, Blake was mid-speech when Admiral Dunham arrived. The crowd fell silent as the retired officer, now in full dress uniform, marched directly to where Eleanor was being held. He snapped at security, "Uncuff her." Immediately. The officers hesitated. "Sir, we were told." "I don't care what you were told," he barked. "That woman outranks every single person on this ship. You cuffed a war hero." Gasps spread through the room. Blake, red-faced, stepped forward. With all due respect, Admiral, the situation was unclear. She didn't need to, Dunham interrupted. Eleanor Reed received the Navy Cross for valor under fire. She was the XO of this very ship. While you were live streaming insults, she was saving lives. Cameras clicked. Phones were already recording. The shift in energy was instant. The crowd that once ridiculed her now stood frozen, unsure whether to applaud, bow, or simply disappear. Blake's stream, which he'd left running, captured every second of his fall from grace. His arrogance. His ignorance. The way he smacked as a hero was mocked in front of the nation. In the days that followed, Blake was relieved of duty. His father issued a vague statement about regrettable actions. The internet dragged him mercilessly. His friends distanced themselves. The face that once graced military recruitment posters now became a cautionary meme for blind ego and prejudice. Eleanor, meanwhile, declined every interview. She refused compensation, recognition, or apologies dressed up as PR. But she accepted one thing: action. With the attention surrounding the incident, she quietly launched the Second Watch, a foundation to help veterans transition into civilian life with dignity. No flashy slogans. Just mentorship, housing assistance, and job placement. It became one of the most respected veteran nonprofits in the country because it was run by someone who understood. Months later, Eleanor received a handwritten note. No return address. It read, "You didn't deserve what happened. I deserved every consequence. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to live differently than the man you met that day." She folded the letter and placed it in the same box that held her medals. A year passed. They met again at a quiet memorial ceremony. Blake, now a volunteer wearing a simple t-shirt with the Second Watch logo, looked older. Quieter. Humbled. He approached her, slowly. "Ms. Reed. Call me Eleanor." He hesitated. "I just wanted to say." "You already said it," she replied. "With your actions. Not your words." There was a long silence before she added, "Redemption isn't about asking to be forgiven. It's about making sure no one else ever goes through what you caused." The USS Washington later dedicated a room in her name. Not a hall or a statue, just a quiet reading room filled with leadership manuals and ship logs. On the wall hung her Navy Cross. Below it, a plaque read, "Some heroes don't wear uniforms. Some leaders don't raise their voice. But when the fire comes, you know who they are. And those who remembered the woman in the cardigan would never forget again."